and the Mayak report, and Janet Napolitano, and others in our government being afraid of the Constitution Party, the John Birch Society, Ron Paul supporters, and Ron Paul himself, and Glenn Beck's and Rush Limbaugh's, and now Bill Clinton has come out with his stupid rhetoric again that he spit out during the 1995 presidential year when the bombing of the Oklahoma City bombing of the Murrah building occurred. And he said it then, and now he's reinstituting that same propaganda, that it's right-wing radicals on the radio that have helped cause this. Well, I told the Washington Post last week, and I'm sorry, I just couldn't say anything else. That is so absurd and so stupid. And I'll call him out, Bill Clinton, on that one. Clinton, you're absolutely asinine in your remarks like that. That's just making matters worse. It is not Rush Limbaugh's fault. It is not Glenn Beck's fault. It is not G. Gordon Liddy's fault, and anybody else. Those of us who in our country want to support the Constitution and talk about the Constitution on the radio is exactly what we should be doing, and pointing out that you liberals like you, Bill Clinton, and others that are destroying our country actually want to point the finger at those of us who believe in the Constitution. I would like to say, though, I want to thank the Southern Poverty Law Center for making me number 18 of the dangerous patriots in this country. Give me a break. Yeah, yeah. And you know the truth about me is kind of funny. I'm called a terrorist or a dangerous person by these people, but I spent 20 years in law enforcement. Never slugged anybody, never beat anybody up, never maced anybody, never shot anybody, never hurt anybody, ever, and never was accused of it. Never was accused of excessive force or police violence in any way. I have said that this movement, that the Tea Party movement, that the movement to take back our country is not racist, that it's for all races, that it's not violent, it's a peaceful process, it's a process of love for freedom and our country and our children and grandchildren. Yeah, I'm listed on a group that's supposed to be dangerous. How does that happen? Only in the SPLC demented minds.
Sheriff, I have a follow-up question, if I could, on the Fremont press. How can accountability be reinstated with the press? Because the Constitution puts the chains on the government. So how do we put the chains on the press and hold them accountable to do their job of delivering the truth?
I think really not.
But the truth to the people.
I think the only way that can come is with the other press and the internet. The internet has had a huge answer and has been a huge alternative to the mainstream, lamestream media. Rush Limbaugh has put them in their place. Glenn Beck has put them in their place. Sean Hannity, who's sometimes part of the problem, but he's tried to put them in their place sometimes. And some of these guys aren't always perfect, I admit that. But the mainstream media who continues to support not just the liberal agenda, but the socialistic agenda, and not calling a socialist, and not calling a Marxist, and looking at the Communist Manifesto and comparing it to what's going on in our country. None of these outlets do that. And so I think it's still going to be in, the hands of the people, getting out the right information and clinging to the right information and getting back to the principles upon which our country was founded. Find those, spread those, adhere to those, obey those, and make sure your local officials are doing the same. You really only have to concentrate on your local level. And so you hope that the press gets involved with what's going on locally, in your own backyard.
You have any questions?
Yes, I'll eat your cookies.
Well, I would like to know your opinion about 9/11.
Okay, this has been something that Glenn Beck and I have had a little argument about. Okay, I'm not a 9/11 truther, but I am a truther. And what I will tell you is we don't know the truth about 9/11. And so I have called and have continuously said the same thing. I want an independent investigation so we can put it to rest once and for all. When they reinvestigated Waco, they did a whitewash. And I actually sent a letter to the investigating committee to volunteer my services to be on the investigation. They scratched out their letterhead and told me no thanks, so I couldn't even get back with them. And this is the same thing. I'll volunteer to be on the investigation. There's too many things that are going on out there from architects and people who know and understand these sort of things a lot better than I do. I'm not a bomb expert. I'm not a forensics expert. But I am a pretty good investigator on a lot of other ways. And plain and simply, we have got to reinvestigate that by someone we trust. It has to be independent, not another Washington, D.C. whitewash like they did Waco.
Architects and engineers did a relatively decent job.
Yeah, and you have to give some credence to that.
I'm an architect.
You know, so one thing I will say about when 9/11 happened, I think it was a Tuesday morning, Monday or Tuesday morning. I was watching it in horror, as we all did, and that evening when they were replaying it, I said, how do two buildings fall the exact same way? I've always wondered that. Well, the third one fell, but it wasn't even hit.
That's right.
And so, I think the American people deserve some answers and some honest answers. And then, what hit the Pentagon? They took 2 years to release the security tapes from the Pentagon. Why would you, if you don't have anything to hide, why are you waiting 2 years? And then it doesn't even look like a plane in the pictures that they released. And I said, that's a 747 hitting the Pentagon?
No debris.
Just a little flash. And then they said, well, yeah, there's no debris. They said the plane completely disintegrated into dust.
Only time in history.
I'm sorry. A lot of that just doesn't sound right. Do I have the answers? No.
But Sheriff Mack,
Can I tell you they're lying? No. It just doesn't sound right. Yeah. Therefore, we need another investigation.
Did you know they did, though, find the passports and documentations from some of the alleged hijackers on the planes?